Hello students. So today we will study about one more bond parameter called bond polarity. This is the last bond parameter that we'll study. So as the name suggests, bond polarity means here we are dealing about the polarity of the covalent bond, or you can say the direction of the positive or negative charges that is present in the covalent bond or in the molecule. What I mean by that is that in a molecule or in a covalent bond, let's say for example a simple bond like H2. In H2 there is one single bond between two H atoms. So there is one pair of electron that is being shared between the two hydrogen atoms. So in what so this is a diagram of hydrogen atom. This one electron, and this is the other electron. So when these two electrons are shared between the both hydrogen atom, the position of this electron pair is very important because the electron pair is attracted by this nucleus of hydrogen and this nucleus of hydrogen both. So this nucleus is attracting the electron pair and this nucleus is also attracting the electron pair. Since both the nucleus have only one proton or one positive charge inside them, then that's why the attraction force between the both the proton or both the nucleus is same. What I mean by that is the attracting power of this nucleus or this proton is same as this hydrogen nucleus. So the electron pair will stay at the center, okay, somewhere around the center. So this nature of attraction between an electron pair and a nucleus is more evident when we deal with unequal atoms. Like for example, suppose that is the case of fluorine. In case of HF atom, HF molecule. Now fluorine is a bigger atom than hydrogen. Fluorine has more nucleus, and more importantly, the electronegativity of fluorine is more than hydrogen. Electronegativity, I have told you about electronegativity in the previous classes. The meaning of electronegativity is that the chances or willingness to attract one electron means if we give one electron to fluorine, then fluorine will be more stable than hydrogen. Both the atoms are getting one electron, hydrogen and fluorine, and both also need one electron to complete their octet. But fluorine will be more stable than hydrogen. So fluorine needs the electron most. Therefore, the electronegativity of the fluorine will be higher. And when I say the fluorine atom needs the electron more or the electronegativity higher, that means the nucleus of the fluorine atom will attract the bond pair or the bonded electron more than the hydrogen atom. So in case of fluorine, the electron pair will be nearer to the fluorine atom because there are more more protons in the nucleus, and also the electronegativity of the fluorine is greater. That's why this electron pair will be attracted to fluorine more than the hydrogen. So this distance A and B. So A will be greater than B. So this electron pair is now more closer to the fluorine atom. So in this case, what happens that till now we have learned that covalent bonds are always neutral, charge neutral bonds. But that is not true in every case, as we have seen that it is true for similar atom. If the bond was between the two similar atom, then the covalent bond will be charge neutral, because all the atom present in the molecule are attracting the bond pair electron equally. But what happens if we add a different atom, or a more electronegative or a less electronegative atom? Then the more electronegative atom will attract the bond electron pair or the electron more than the other atoms. So this will create a polarity or a direction of charge. So this is called dipole moment. Okay, remember this term, dipole moment. Dipole moment. So dipole moment is a representation of the bond polarity. So as I was saying, the direction of charges will be towards the more electronegative atom, because they are attracting the electron more. So I can say the direction of electron will be towards fluorine atom, because fluorine has more electronegativity, so it is attracting the electron more. So dipole moment is represented as an arrow with a cross. Okay, so this means the positive side and this means negative side. So where the position of the electron, so here fluorine has, so here the fluorine atom is nearer to the electron, so there will be a slightly negative charge in this area, and here the electron is further away from the hydrogen atom, so there will be a slightly positive charge, because hydrogen has only one electron and that is being attracted by fluorine atom as well. So that's why there will be a development of positive charge here and a development of negative charge. Remember, this is not completely positive or negative, because the electron is not completely getting donated to the fluorine atom. It is being shared between both the atoms. Because fluorine has more electronegativity, the electron is more closer to the fluorine atom than hydrogen atom. That's why there is a slight development of negative charge on the fluorine atom and a slight development of positive charge in the hydrogen atom, which is represented by this sign, arrow sign, where the tail represents the positive and the head represents the negative. This is called dipole moment. Okay, so there is a unit for this dipole moment. So dipole moment is also represented as D. So there is a particular unit of this attractive force. Okay, we can actually calculate by how much force the other atom or the more electronegative atom is attracting that electron. It is defined as charge into distance. Charge C or multiplied by distance. So one dipole moment is equal to charge multiplied by distance. We know the charge on the electron and distance between the center of positive charge and negative charge. So if I say this is a fluorine atom and this center represents the positive charge, okay, and here is one electron pair, this represents the negative charge. So the distance between the centers of this positive charge and negative charge is multiplied with the total charge, and the resultant is a dipole moment. So the natural unit for dipole moment will be, the unit for charge is coulomb, and the unit of distance is meter. So the unit for dipole moment is coulomb meter. Okay, and it is also represent in the unit of dB. DEBYE. Okay, dB. So I can write it like this. D is equal to C into R, or you can say coulomb meter, and it is also represented in the unit of dB. So dB unit is named after a scientist who made a groundworking work in the field of dipole polarity or dipole moment and X-rays. So 1 dB or D. Okay, it is also the short form of dB is D. This is just a normal unit, just like meter, centimeter. The unit for bond polarity or dipole moment is dB. So 1 dB is equal to 3.33 into 10 to the power minus 30 coulomb meter. So this is the value of one dipole moment or 1 dB is 3.33 into 10 to the power minus 30 coulomb meter. Okay, so the unit for bond polarity is either dB or coulomb meter. Also, the bond polarity or dipole moment has a direction. So this is also a vector quantity. Remember, you must have learned about the vector quantity in mathematics or physics classes. But if you haven't learned about vector quantity means a physical quantity which has a magnitude and direction. So magnitude means some value like this, some value 1, 2, 3 or 4 in any unit, and direction means the quantity is defined in a particular way to move. Just like for example gravity has a particular direction of downwards attraction. So gravity you can say as a vector quantity. Similarly, dipole moment also have a particular magnitude and direction. So this is also a vector quantity. Okay. So dipole moment is also a vector quantity, and vector addition and subtraction rules or any other vector rules also apply in the dipole moment. For example, in case of H2O, the central atom is oxygen, and there is a bond between both the hydrogen atom, and there is a lone pair electron. There are two lone pair electrons, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, 8. So there are 8 electrons. So here the direction of the bond polarity or dipole moment between the hydrogen and oxygen atom will be towards the oxygen atom, because oxygen is more electronegative than hydrogen. So I can draw it like this. And because the dipole moment is a vector quantity, I can add this dipole moment and this dipole moment to get a net resultant dipole moment. When we are adding a vector quantity, for example, suppose there is a vector quantity in x direction and one in y direction. So the resultant, we can add these two vector quantities and the resultant will be somewhere between the both the x and y. Okay. So like this, if we want to add these two also, the resultant will be in this direction, in the upward direction. So the net dipole moment of the molecule will be in this direction. Okay, the net dipole moment will be in this direction, upward direction. Like this, we can add all the dipole moment of a particular molecule and find out a net dipole moment of the molecule. So the magnitude of the addition of both the dipole moment will be also more. So we know the direction and we can actually calculate the magnitude of both the dipole moments. So let's see in one more example of NF3. NF3. In case of NF3, the central atom is nitrogen. So there are 3 covalent bonds and 1 lone pair that is left in the nitrogen atom. That will be at the center, okay, in the upward direction, in the Z direction, the lone pair of electron. So the direction of dipole moment between this fluorine and nitrogen will be towards fluorine, because fluorine is more electronegative. Same is the case between this fluorine and this fluorine. So the net resultant of all the 3 dipole moment will be 0, because when we add this arrow and this dipole moment and this dipole moment, we will get a resultant of this in this direction, and there is also a similar dipole moment in exactly opposite direction present in the upper side. So that will cancel the resultant dipole moment. So the net dipole moment will be 0. This and this will be cancelled out. Okay. This dipole moment is going in upward direction and this dipole moment going in downward direction. Both have equal magnitude. Equal magnitude but opposite direction. So the net resultant will be 0. So this is called a non-dipole. So this molecule does not have a particular dipole moment. And you can also say this is a non-polar, okay, because this does not have any bond polarity, so this is a non-polar molecule. Similar, the more examples of non-polar molecule will be H2 or O2, because the position of the electron is exactly between both the atoms. So now let's see one more example. Of NH3. In case of NH3, there are 3 hydrogen atoms. There are 3 hydrogen atom that is present around the nitrogen atom. So the direction of the polarity will be towards the nitrogen atom. Because nitrogen is more electronegative than hydrogen. So there is one lone pair or single pair electron present in the upward direction. Okay. In this direction there is one lone pair of electron. So the resultant of all the three dipole moment will be the same as the direction of the electron. Okay. So the net dipole moment will not be zero. Okay. In case of NF3, what was happening that in case of NF3, the direction was towards fluorine. So the net dipole moment was zero. But in case of hydrogen, the direction is towards nitrogen atom. So the net dipole moment is not zero because all the dipole moment are actually in the same direction. But this is on the opposite direction. All the dipole moments are in opposite direction. But in case of NH3, all the dipole moments are in same direction. That's why the dipole moment of NH3 will be more, or you can say not zero, as in case of NF3.